I'm Jake. You might notice that this isn't the typical episode of Fearless Reflections. For one, my partner in crime Zach is not here. Two, this is going to be a review of several films, and a fast-paced review at that. Why, you might ask? Well, sweethearts, it's a special occasion. It has recently been brought to my attention that Rob Zombie has taken to blocking people from making comments on his Facebook page if you say anything negative about the Lords of Salem. In light of this, I thought it was time that we take our fearless name a little bit more literally here. So, prepare your band hammer, Mr. Zombie. This is your filmography. What better way to start than with your directorial debut, House of a Thousand Corpses. I remember following the production of this movie for years before it came out. From the time you completed it, it took about 3 years for it to be released. That was because Universal refused to release it. Why? They feared that the mighty MPAA would give it an NC-17 rating. A lot of people were upset by this, myself included. But looking back, Universal was completely justified. Getting an NC-17 rating essentially means that your chance of making any profit off the movie is slim at best. Anyways, when it comes to House of a Thousand Corpses, your inspiration was clear, but your nonsensical plot and complete lack of thrills made your directorial debut feel paper thin. You gave us the bare minimum for any disturbing gore fest, and it shows. However, you showed incredible promise, which is why everybody gave your second movie a shot. The Devil's Rejects follows the 3 most popular characters from House of a Thousand Corpses: Otis, Baby, and Captain Spaulding. Their depraved acts have caught up with them as their house has been shot up by the police, leaving Rufus dead, Mother Firefly arrested, and our 3 favorite villains on the run. Never has a sequel outperformed its predecessor with such success. This movie is shot similarly in style to House of a Thousand Corpses. It has that same 70s grindhouse feel that we haven't seen since your last movie. Generally speaking, this movie is leaps and bounds better than House of a Thousand Corpses. But I'll leave the detailed review till a later time since Devil's Rejects is getting a full review in a future episode. Let's leap forward. In 2006, it was announced that you would serve as director, writer, producer, and music supervisor for a remake of the John Carpenter classic Halloween. You showed tremendous amounts of class when, out of friendship and respect, you went to John Carpenter to let him know you were remaking his classic before it even went public. With that act, you instantly earned the respect of die-hard Halloween fans. It was clear to many that the franchise had crumbled under the weight of over-complexity. The once mysterious serial killer, whose motives were unknown, became the product of witchcraft who impregnated his own niece. Son of a bitch. So, thanks to you, we got what I consider to be a proper remake. Not only did you put your own spin on this classic story, but you paid homage, and it was clear how much respect you had for the original. Because of this, I'm willing to ignore the fact that your fix for a character who had become overcomplicated was to give him a detailed backstory. Some people thought your movie was too violent, or that you didn't bring anything fresh to the table. To that I say, shut up. Elements of your movie were similar to the original, but I didn't take that as unoriginality. I took that as tribute. Of course, you used the same crazy hillbilly shtick that you become known for, and gave us lifeless, bland characters. The story trumps everything in my eyes. I'd love for this to be the end, but you had to go and make Halloween 2, you crazy son of a bitch. Congratulations! You successfully made a rebooted franchise more complicated in 2 films than the original franchise did in 8. Things look grim right from the opening text. Son of a bitch. You just had to find a way to cast your wife again, didn't you? We get it. You married a hottie. Stop cramming it down our throats. Some people might be afraid to tell you, but I'm not. Your wife isn't nearly as talented as you think she is. Her best role to date was Devil's Rejects, and she was still the weakest link in that movie. At least you did us a favor and kept her lines to a fucking minimum. Anyways, you took all the good you did in Halloween and undid it in an hour and 45 minutes. I will admit, you you took 3 of the lifeless characters from the original and made them interesting again in this otherwise dismal sequel. But there's no smile of an angel without the wrath of God. The once gentle hippie, Dr. Sam Loomis, wanted to do nothing but help the incurably evil Michael Myers until he realized that he was incurably evil. After the events of the first movie, naturally Loomis would sell his story to the highest bidder and become a fame whore and a prima donna. Wait, what? Why in the blue hell did you take the greatest character from Halloween lore and make him an insufferable douchebag? So, apparently the price of 3 likable characters is to take the only likable character from Halloween and make him the least likable character in existence. You actually begin hoping that he finds himself at the pointy end of a butcher knife. Speaking of which, you ended Michael Myers in the original. How can you justify him coming back? Oh, you don't.
Nope.
Okay. Look, if I start pulling threads of this movie, I'm going to be here all day. The point is, the one thing you wanted to avoid is the exact same fucking thing you accomplished with this movie. Your entirely nonsensical and unoriginal ending did nothing more than rip off the ending of Psycho. The original movie made nods to Psycho, never directly ripped it off. You obviously thought you were saying something deep and meaningful in this movie, but the deepest this movie goes is the hole you dug and buried the characters in. From this train wreck, you took us on a whimsically dark journey into the haunted world of El Superbeasto. So what did I think of this forgotten little movie of yours? Meh. Moving on. This brings me to the reason I'm here, reason I'm filming this, the reason you feel the need to block people from making comments on your Facebook page, The Lords of Salem. To be fair, I haven't watched this movie yet. So sit tight and wait right there, and I'll be right back.
I'm a wild green guy living under the bed. I gobble up a sock before you turn your head. Like a bolt of light, make your heart jump. My name is Mr. Bumpy. I go bump, bump, bump. Yeah, bump. Bump, bump, bumpity bump. Everybody bump. Bump, bump, bumpity, yeah. He goes 100 miles an hour, he's green dynamite. His name is Mr. Bumpy, he goes bumping at night. It's Bump with Squishy. She's my very best pal. Bump with Mom. She's my favorite gal. Bump a closet monster and destructo too. But those guys don't bother Bumpy, he knows what to do. Say bump. Bump, bump, bumpity bump. Everybody bump. Bump, bump. Bumpity, yeah, he goes 100 miles an hour, he's green dynamite. His name is Mr. Bumpy, he goes bumping the night. You can bump with the doll, bump with the bug. Bump on the ceiling or bump on the rug. And you can bump too from the east to the west. Just bump with the monster you love best. Say bump. Bump, bump, bumpity, everybody bump. Bumpity, yeah, he goes 100 miles an hour, he's green dynamite. His name is Mr. Bumpy, he goes bumping the night. My name is Mr. Bumpy, I go bumping the night.
I don't know what to say. Oh wait, yes I do. I don't like it. Look, it's clear that you love your wife. That's all well and good, but that does not make her a great actress. Obviously, I have my issues with Sherry Moon Zombie's acting, or lack thereof. So I'll just say this. You managed to get a couple really decent actors, but still gave the lead to your wife, who has proven to be the weakest link in your previous films. In my opinion, it's a pretty boneheaded move. Lords of Salem is a really slow movie that seems to be trying to convey a message, but doesn't quite accomplish that task. A lot of the chief complaints I've read about this movie has been its complete lack of scares or horror. I'm not so quick to say that about this movie. Why? I'm not entirely positive that this movie is supposed to be that type of horror movie. In my opinion, Charlotte Steele's quote about this film perfectly sums up your film career. Within Rob Zombie, I do believe is a brilliant original horror movie just waiting to come out. Alas, I have been disappointed again, Mr. Zombie. You were recently quoted in an interview as saying that Lords of Salem will be your last horror movie for a long, long time, if ever. Because horror movies are so looked down upon. Christ, how quickly you buckled. Generally speaking, I'm not a fan of your movies, but that does not mean I don't appreciate what you do. There's no denying that you have boundless amounts of potential, and that you already know how to give your audience stunning visuals. And that's what all this is about. Your audience. You are among a very select few who purposefully go against the grain. You have always done what you felt was right, and that's why you have so many fans. I, along with thousands of other people, have taken what you've done with your movies and your music and try to apply it to our lives. You should always do what best represents you. With that life, however, it is extremely important that you realize that your movies and your music isn't for everybody. Bands like him and even the supposedly egotistical Marilyn Manson have accepted that fact. Just because somebody doesn't like one of your movies does not mean they hate everything you've ever created. I'm proof of that. I realize the chance that you are actually monitoring your Facebook page are slim, but the responsibility still rests with you to maintain the integrity of your image. Do I think this video is ultimately going to make a difference? No. I know my place. I'm just one pissed off fan with a camera and a voice, just like every other inhabitant of YouTube. Even though this whole situation is utter nonsense, I will always, always support what you do. Why? If we don't encourage individuality, this already shit world will crumble to pieces. Until next time, I'm Jake.